Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special end-of-the-year episode of Impact Factor. I'm still your host, Katie Van Aken, and this week I wanted to look back on our first year of the pod and share with you some of the things we learned along the way. Cue the theme song, and let's get into it. I probably mentioned this in the trailer episode, but it's always good to reflect on the why. So why did I start this podcast? Well, my network contains a ton of people who have finished, are in the middle of, or are about to start a PhD program. And I felt like there was a lot of wisdom to be shared and learned for future PhD students to come. We did some topical episodes which covered things like picking a PhD program, building a relationship with your advisor, fighting imposter syndrome, and how to give a good technical presentation. However, my favorite episodes to make were definitely the interviews. It was such a blast to reconnect with some old colleagues and make some new connections through the podcast interviews. We welcomed 14 guests in 2022 at all stages of their PhD journey. We had some technical challenges with audio recordings here and there, but ultimately we felt the episode content stood on its own without a ton of editing. There's always room for improvement heading into 2023, though. In addition to guest interviews, we did our first live panel discussion and recording in partnership with Drexel University's Graduate College, which was a huge success. Hopefully we can do some more of those events next year, because call me old-fashioned, but I love an in-person event. Next, we all know that Spotify sends listeners a wrapped summary of their year of listening. Well, what you may not know, because I also did not know, is that they send podcast creators a wrapped summary about their podcast for the year. So, for example, they shared with me that as of the time of the wrapped publication, which I think was the end of November, I had published 666 minutes of content, a number that's significance is not lost on me, trust me. And they also shared that this is more than 94% of others in the education category. Woo! We also reached 12 countries and landed in the top 10 podcasts for many of our fans. And with that, I want to give a huge shout out to you guys, our listeners. According to the Wrapped, our listeners' personality is the enthusiast, meaning, quote, your listeners are superfans. When their favorite podcast releases a new episode, they are among the first to know, going above and beyond to show their support. Now, I don't know how that description is generated, but I definitely do feel the support of our listeners, so thanks for tuning in every week, sharing the episodes with your friends, and liking our posts on Instagram. So while we're on the topic of Instagram, I wanted to thank our social media manager, Becca, who is also my sister. She has designed all the posts, logos, and icons we've used to promote the show, and she also has taught me how to use Instagram along the way. So thank you, Becca. Now, looking ahead to 2023, we will be taking a few weeks off for the holidays, so make sure to catch up on all the older episodes that you may have missed, and we will be back with a new episode on Monday, January 9th. Coming up, we have more interviews, hopefully some that are outside of the science and engineering fields. We also have a guest lined up who did his PhD in Germany, which should be interesting. And like I said earlier, hopefully we'll get some more in-person events or special episodes in the queue. And finally, as always, if you or someone you know wants to be interviewed on the pod, feel free to reach out via LinkedIn or connect with us on Instagram at ImpactFactorPod. Thanks again to all of you for listening and supporting the show. We wish you all a wonderful holiday season, and we'll be back next year.